A couple of pretty impressive goals tonight. We'll start with Anderson's midfielder there. Have you seen him do that in training at all? What was your reaction to that one?
No, it was, again, really good awareness. I mean, a lot like Chicho earlier in the year. Their eyes are always on the goal, strikers are. And it defies all the tactics that we employed, and that just goes to show the individual quality in that moment to really get us going. I think it was an important moment for the group. Haven't scored a lot of goals as of late. And so I think obviously that brings confidence to the team, but also brings a lot of confidence to Ando.
And then on the other side, the free kick goal from Ferreira. I think it caught everybody by surprise. What was your reaction to that one and kind of what went down there?
Yeah, it's a learning moment. And again, I think, Ferreira is a very good player. And again, another goal that is not coached. That's a goal where he sees an opportunity and takes advantage of it. And I think for us, the learning from that, and you have to keep relearning moments like this. And it's, if you create a foul, stand in front of the ball until the referee asks you to move. And then obviously for Gav, it's a big learning moment. When you're setting up the wall, you've got to always have one eye on the ball and one eye on the wall. So a really good learning opportunity. I'm just grateful it just didn't cost us.
And then lastly, I got to ask where the jacket's from.
This is the RSL, I think NASCAR edition, and I'm a terrible model for this jacket, is what I've been told.
I would highly disagree with that last statement. By the way, you rock it very well. I'm about ready to give it man of the match for what it's worth. So, how badly does this team need the win after a pretty rough outing over the weekend to be able to bounce back and kind of show their real quality?
Yeah, it's a crazy game, and you think that when you're on the ascent, that all things are going to be easy and flow, and then when you're on the descent, it feels like you can't put a performance together that's worthy of a result. And I think this is where we are in the season. And we had two areas of focus for this game: is our repress and our defensive commitment. And ironically, we score 3 goals. And I preach this to the guys all the time. It's so counterintuitive to think if you defend well from the front that you're going to score a lot of goals. And it's really because not only do you win the balls in better areas, not only are you engaged at all times, but it's the mentality that it brings when you commit to the defensive side of the game. And again, there's a lot of individual moments, as we saw tonight, in the attack. And that's what these guys do. They make great plays. But there's a reason why, and this has been said for probably as long as sport's been around, that offense wins games and defense wins championships, because defense requires selflessness from every player on the field, whether you're the 9 and you're the goal scorer, or you're the goalkeeper. You have to defend when you don't have the ball. And tonight, the guys up front did a fantastic job of making the play predictable. And again, for me, Dallas is a great attacking team. They have some real firepower up front. And so we needed everyone to commit to that side of the ball. And I believe that when we give that type of effort, we become not only a good defensive team, but a very good attacking team. And so this performance should be a standard for us as to making sure that we don't take any defensive action for granted. And more times than not, we'll find ourselves scoring some goals.
What does the third goal mean to a 20-year-old who's come from a different continent to help create that goal? That looked like a pretty emotional response by him.
Yeah, I think, again, I think we fail to understand the enormity of how difficult it is to come abroad when you're 21 years old and live in a different country on your own and acclimate to the societal norms, to a club, to your teammates. First time out of Poland, and obviously hasn't trained with us a lot. Went back to Poland last week, just got back, and he is so hungry to be a great player. He's one of the most honest, hardworking players, but he has an incredible amount of class. And I think on that play, he took his touch down the line. He knew what he was getting at. But what and just watching Dominic before he came here was his decision making in and around goal, and that ball that he played across for Endo was world class. I mean, it was inch perfect, the right pace, and then he played another one at the top of the box. So his decision making in and around goal is fantastic, and so for him to get the assist on that goal obviously brings confidence, a feeling of belonging. I'm contributing to the team, and I think that'll continue to grow as you get more and more playing time.
Can you assess the goalkeeping in total? The shot stopping, the decision making, the plays with the ball at the feet, just big picture.
For Gavin?
Yeah.
It's tough. Again, I think when we talk about players, and we're a club that pride themselves on giving young players opportunities. And I think tonight, Gavin learned a lot about himself. You know, there was hairy moments, and then there's big moments where he comes out for that save and smothers it. And so it's always trying to move the needle as to, you know, what I should be doing on this play. And again, training it's a different game. You can mess up, and that's what training's for. And when you're a young player and you don't have experience, you're going to make mistakes because that's how you learn, unfortunately, in life. And so I think it's important that, you know, and he does a great job of being a student of the game and going back and learning the recaps and stuff. But, you know, I think that's part for parcel of being a young player. And, you know, credit to the back line to you know, shore up quite a few plays. And again, Gavin made some plays tonight, some big plays. So I think patience is needed. Unfortunately, we're coming down to the part of the season where it's go time, you know, and so it's just that it's always trying to find that balance. But I think the most important thing tonight for Gavin is that we got the 3 points.
With a couple guys suspended and some other guys resting with 3 games in 8 days, can you assess some of the younger players that you played either out of position or in unusual combinations or both, and how they did?
Like
you put Phillip at an outside back, for instance. The front 4, that was an unusual group. Crooks hasn't started. I don't know how much he's played with the new guys with Lachlan out there.
Yeah, again, so again, Phillips played right back a couple games. Lockie came into the first game as a left-sided 10, and then you have Ando and Dominic. I think the difference was the mindset and the willingness to work hard for the team tonight. It's not so much tactical, because from a tactical perspective, even though Dominic and Lockie are new, the most important thing for me is the way we approach the game. And then they obviously know the game model, and they're still learning it. But you can, in football, there's 2 ways to affect the game: with intensity or with tactics. And if on the day, tactically or technically, you're not great, you can make up so much for it with intensity in the way you work. And there's so many plays that these guys made, you know, Crooksy in particular, who was just chasing balls down. He was an extra guy in the midfield when we didn't have the ball. And then he sprung Dominic and a few other guys in the attack. And so, again, I look at this more from a holistic perspective versus just individual players. Because at the end of the day, whoever's playing in those positions needs to work their tails off for the team. And when we do that, and when we've done that in the past, we're a great team. And there's been a lot of interruptions over the course of the season. And like normal human beings, sometimes all this press from the media starts to affect the human being. And that is so normal. And so with all these changes, and then obviously with Andres going out, Chicho not being with the group for a while, it's only natural. And so what I'm trying to do is making sure that it doesn't matter who steps on the field. These are the mandatory minimums that we have to display game in and game out. And I am so grateful that we got the 3 points tonight, because the guys busted their tails, they worked hard for each other, and that's who we are as a team.
Where does that come from, though? If that's a change, or if that's something different that they haven't been doing, or that they have been struggling with, like, where does that come from? Is there a player? Is there someone providing that leadership? Where is that coming?
Well, it's got to come from me, right? I think as a coach, when things are going well, the last thing you want to do is stick your hands in the pot. There's no need to, right? And so we're always, as coaches, kind of hurting the group. Sometimes it's tactically. Sometimes it's like we got to improve our technique. But with our group, it's been mentality. And there's relationships within the team. For example, Chicho and Andres Gomez, best buds. They've linked up for I don't know how many goals this year, close to 30 goals. And now Andres is gone. That's naturally going to have an effect on your psyche as a human being, not as a soccer player, as a human being, right? My best guy, the Robin to my Batman, right? And so naturally, he's going to feel a little bit like, wow, I got to rekindle with my group. And then the actions of the player who's playing in there, which is going to be a new player, are different than what I used to do with Andres. And then there's, like I said earlier, there's been a lot of talk about individual brilliance on this team, and deservedly so. But that also has an effect on the way you think about it. And it's so easy in difficult times to start thinking about yourself. Leadership is easy when you're winning. Leadership is extremely difficult when there's adversity. And so for my chair, it's more about who are we, what's our mindset, and how do we get back, regardless of who the player is, to being a tough team to play against. Because when we play good defensively from the front, we have quality to kill teams. When we don't do that, we are an average team. Our superpower and what gives us a +1 on offense and a +1 on defense is our work rate and our commitment to the cause. Without that, we are average.
And how do you get them to buy into that, though? Is it just a matter of winning?
Well, I think it's a game like tonight.
Yeah.
A game like tonight speaks
Do
volumes.
the penalties, do the problems, do they play into that?
Who's that?
The penalties or the mistakes or the
No.
sort of the downs?
No. I think what happens on the field is going to happen. Players are going to make mistakes. I encourage players to make mistakes because I want them playing from a place of freedom. If you say don't do this and don't do that, they're always going to play what you're saying, don't do it. And I'm saying do it, express yourself, be brave. However, when we lose the ball, 11 dogs after it. 11 dogs after it. Now, if we're not good with the ball and we don't have 11 dogs after it, we are an average team. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so it's really about and then when the players see this group of guys who haven't played together, to your point, DJ, who haven't trained a whole lot because we've only had a couple days to train, go out and just do what's being asked, which is great reactions and great defensive mentality, we scored 3 goals. That ain't tactics. That's I care about this team. I want to be a part of it, and the team is greater than me. But all these other things that have happened are natural. It's not anybody's fault. It's just a natural effect of getting a little bit high on our horse, and then things aren't going well, and then it's like, well, and everyone has egos. And professional athletes have to have an alter ego. They have to, because for the amount of people in their lives that told them they couldn't do it, and if they believed every word that everyone says, they wouldn't be where they are today. And so that's the toughest thing in this from my chair, is you're important, but you're great when you work for the team. And how do you do that? Well, every guy needs something different. Some guy needs a hug. Some guy needs a video. Some guy needs a stiff conversation. It's different. And that's why, for me, coaching is all art. It's all art. And it's dealing with human beings. And it's understanding their plight, which is not easy.
So talking about what you talked today, did the team look like you wanted to look tonight?
Yes.
And my second question would be, with Ando having that great moment at this game, how are you as a coach determined to let him go for the tear or take him out like you did today?
Well, that's a really good question. Obviously, I'd love for him to get the 3rd goal, without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm always balancing the team, because if I talk about we're a team, then my actions have to follow those words, right? My history with Ando at this club for the last, whatever it's been, 4 years, is when he plays a ton of minutes, he's always susceptible to a hamstring pull. And so thinking about Chicho's a little bit nicked up with his ankle, and just thinking about the next game. Meanwhile, his high-speed running is off the charts, his sprinting is off the charts. And so putting all that together, it was, I always felt coming in this game that we have to replace Ando at some point. Because if we don't have Ando and we don't have Chicho, then that's shame on me for not putting the team before, him getting his third goal.
Go ahead, Willie.
Thank you. Pablo, felicidades por el triunfo. El año pasado, en la temporada 2022, había sumado 47 puntos y a este partido, antes de este partido, ya se había alcanzado eso. El 2023 se sumó 50 puntos y ya alcanzaste. Tienes 15 puntos por jugar. De esos 15, 9 son en casa. ¿Cómo afrontar mentalmente con estos muchachos esos partidos?
Para mí, siempre lo tomo un partido aparte, porque cuando empezamos a hablar del futuro, de todos los puntos que existen, y perdemos de reconocer que necesitamos el máximo esfuerzo para el próximo partido, perdemos el ritmo, perdemos la mentalidad que es necesario. O sea, cuando hablas del futuro y decir que te faltan 5 partidos, normal, como el humano, dice, tenemos tiempo, tenemos 5. Si no ganamos ganamos uno de los últimos. Pero el partido más importante es el próximo. Así, yo confío en nuestro proceso de trabajar, yo confío en la mentalidad del grupo, y lo que necesito exigir es el mismo tipo de esfuerzo en cada partido si queremos llegar a 60. Pero no puedo hablar del futuro, porque después olvidamos que tenemos un partido este sábado. Tenemos que salir como perro en este partido para ahora ganar confianza, ahora ganar un poco de ritmo, y vamos a llegar. Si tenemos esa mentalidad, si jugamos con esa calidad, vamos a llegar. Pero sin olvidarnos que el partido más importante es el sábado.
So the question was, in 2022 season, you got 46 points, 2023, 50. Now this season, we've already gotten to the 50 mark, so kind of surpassed the last 2 seasons, and there's still 15 points left to play. What is your goal to kind of get those? Pablo said that they don't focus on all the points that are still available, that they need to focus on the next game to win those 3 points, that they need to have the mentality of all 11 dogs go after the ball, and they just need to focus on the next game so they don't lose track.
I told 22 was 40. I mean, I was 47, no 46. Yeah, 22 was.
Don't rob us
Okay.
the point.
Joseph on Zoom.
Hola Pablo, felicidades. Quería preguntar sobre tu análisis del partido completo de Anderson Julio. Hablaste de unos momentos de él, pero el partidazo que él tuvo hoy.
Sí, no, yo creo que el Ando es un gran compañero de equipo, primero, porque está cómodo entrar en un partido y marcar la diferencia, pero también, como hoy día lo necesitamos hoy, del inicio, tenía una gran mentalidad para ayudar al equipo defensivamente, pero también hizo creó muchas opciones para él y para los compañeros. Yo creo que los 2 goles fueron típicos goles de un 9, o sea, la sabiduría para tirar al arco de 60 metros, pero también el esfuerzo en el pique que hizo, rompiendo la espalda de la defensa. Eso es fundamental, y lo hizo todo, y estoy muy contento para Ando, porque también en estos momentos vamos a tener partido difícil y necesita estar enchufado para dar el mismo tipo de juego que dio hoy.
The question was just regarding Anderson Julio's performance. Pablo said that Julio was always ready to go and plug into the team when needed. Obviously, today he was needed from the start. He had a very good defensive mindset to help the team defend. But the 2 goals he scored are just very typical goals that you would see from a 9. The ability to shoot the ball from 60 yards out and then running on the back of the defenders and just slotting it in. So that he's just working on keeping that mentality into the later games of the season.
Thanks, Pablo.
Y uno
Right.
más.
Thank you.
Uno más.
Sorry, we're out of time, Joseph.
Chicos, solo denle un segundo para que traduzca en inglés y luego
Porque la otra vez me...
Muchachos, felicidades por el triunfo y por los goles marcados. Decía en el relato que tenías un cañón en los pies y que eso iba a ser gol. ¿Qué pensaste en el momento de patear, colocarla, ponerla enfrente, meterla fuerte?
What did you think the moment you were going to strike the PK?
Bueno, sí, muchas gracias por las felicitaciones. Yo, pues esa es mi arma, es lo que tengo y eso es lo que tengo que hacer siempre. En mi cabeza siempre está patear fuerte porque siento que es más difícil para el arquero taparlo. Entonces, desde un principio dije, tengo que darle duro y así fue.
His mentality is to just strike the ball hard, that when he does that, it's harder for the goalkeeper to save.
¿Era tu decisión? ¿Tú agarraste la pelota, te habían dicho, o alguien más quería patearla?
Was it your decision to take the PK or were you told to take the PK?
No, en primera pues Ando era el que quería patear y yo se lo pedí porque tenía muchas ganas de hacer un gol hoy. Entonces él, como es tan buen compañero, me lo cedió.
Ando wanted the PK at first, but I asked him for it, and since he's such a good teammate, he gave it to me.
Anderson, felicidades también. La última para darle pase a los compañeros. Estás metiéndote en esa tabla de goleadores, ya tienes 9, te vas acercando un poquito más. ¿Cuál es tu meta para finalizar, viendo que tenemos 5 partidos más todavía, 3 en casa y pueden ser más favorables?
Already having 9 goals on the season, you're kind of pulling up your weight on the leaderboard. What's your goal to end the season with, goals-wise?
Nuevamente, muchas gracias por las felicitaciones. No, la meta es, me acuerdo que me trazé una meta a principio de año, que era marcar de 10 a 12 goles, pues estamos más cerca del objetivo. Bueno, y para llegar a los goleadores creo que me falta mucho porque ellos tienen ya una larga ventaja con los que vamos abajo, pero la fe intacta y esperemos seguir marcando porque para eso es lo que estamos y nada, muy feliz por lo que dio el equipo hoy.
Very happy to just keep scoring. That's what he's here for. But at the beginning of the season, he had set a goal to score 10 or 12 goals. So he's happy that he's getting closer and closer to that goal.
Anderson, quería preguntarte sobre tu segundo gol. No, el primero, perdón. El segundo del partido. ¿Fue una reacción rápida? ¿Ya lo tenías planeado? ¿O desde que la recibiste pensaste en disparar desde ahí?
So just asking about your first goal. When you first got the ball, were you already thinking of striking the ball, or was it just a reaction to strike it from that far out?
No, en algunas ocasiones le vi al portero de ellos que estaba afuera cada vez que recuperábamos la pelota. Antes de recibirla siempre ya le veía a él y dije, bueno, esta tiene que ser mi oportunidad. No alcé ni la cabeza, ni siquiera le vi, simplemente fue un instinto que me tuve mucha confianza y le pegué desde ahí y salió un lindo gol.
I had just noticed that every time we would win the ball back, their goalkeeper was never on the line, and when I received the ball, I didn't even look up. I just kind of trusted my instinct and just struck the ball.
Y Brian, bueno, el gol tú decías que tenías ganas de meterlo, que tenías confianza en hacerlo también, pero sobre todo en tu posición, ahorita hay una situación importante en la defensa, que es Gavin Beavers, que es un portero joven y que también necesita tener esa confianza. Tanto tú como Glad son los centrales que necesitan transmitirle ese sentimiento. ¿Cómo se han sentido ustedes con un portero tan joven y con quizás no tanta experiencia como McMath?
How have you guys felt, you and Justin Glad specifically, being the center backs, felt playing with Beavers, having less experience than McMath, that you guys are used to playing? So what are you guys trying to transmit to him?
Bueno, la verdad, a mí me parece que Beavers a pesar de su juventud, es un gran arquero y tiene mucho futuro. En lo personal, pues yo trato de siempre animarlo, de ayudarle, no me gusta gritarle o algo porque pues yo entiendo que es un arquero joven, entonces Glad tampoco le dice cosas malas, por ejemplo, entonces entendemos que es joven y que tenemos que ayudarlo.
I really try to motivate him, but me and Justin Glad both know that he's a young keeper. He's very talented. He has a lot of future ahead of him. So we try not to say anything rude or unmotivating to him.
Buenas noches. Mi pregunta es algo como fuera de lo normal. Dice, ¿en algún momento ustedes se miraron y dijeron, chucha, te la hubiera dejado para el hat-trick?
At any moment did you think I shouldn't have given him the PK for the hat trick?
No, sí. Vera me dijo a lo que estábamos ahí en el camerino, me dijo, Ando, le quité el hat trick. Pues bueno, son cosas de fútbol, ¿no? Yo creo que en ese momento los dos nos sentíamos con confianza para patear el penal. Entonces, bueno, él me dijo que lo quería patear. Pues bueno, ahí se sintió con mucha confianza y lo pudo marcar.
We joked about it in the locker room, but yeah, those are just things of soccer. We had a lot of confidence in him to put away the PK, so he took up and put it away.
Y mi otra pregunta es para Brian. Hemos visto hoy hacer pases largos que nos tenías acostumbrados para Andrés y ahora con el nuevo jugador te estás como haciendo los mismos pasos hoy. ¿Es algo que ustedes hablaron en práctica o algo que se dio naturalmente hoy en el juego?
We're starting to see the longer passes that you would play to Andres to now the newer players, Lachlan and Dominic. Is that something you guys practice or is that something that just came back naturally?
Bueno, eso es natural porque pues eso es lo que nosotros entrenamos en la semana. Dominic es un buen jugador y pues la posición de él es estar siempre sobre la línea y yo tengo muy claro que cuando yo recibo el balón él siempre tiene que estar ahí, entonces en ocasiones sin tener que mirar se la tiro y él siempre, la responsabilidad de él es estar en ese lugar.
That it's just natural to train it in training, that Brian knows that every single time Dominic has to be up against the end line, or sorry, the sideline, so he sometimes doesn't even look up before playing him the ball. Joseph, go ahead.
Brian, una pregunta para usted. Llevaste 2 partidos fuera con Nación después de jugar casi cada partido durante esa temporada. ¿Qué hizo ese descanso para usted y cómo pudiste regresar con un excelente partido hoy noche?
You've been out for 2 games. What did that rest help you do, and then how did you feel coming back into the game?
Buenas noches. Sí, obviamente me ayudó porque la lesión que tenía era muy molesta, era un dolor en la espalda que era muy incómodo para la movilidad. Pues, entonces, siempre estuve 2 semanitas tratando de trabajar lo que más se podía y teniendo en cuenta de que tenía que volver lo más rápido posible para jugar.
Yes, it was very helpful to have those 2 weeks off. It was a back injury that hurt a lot with my mobility, so it was just nice to be able to take the time off and recover.
I was just wondering for both of you how difficult it's been to adjust to the new players, injuries, the suspensions. It's been a lot of change, a lot of different looks. What has been difficult and what has worked well for you?
¿Qué ha sido difícil para ustedes dos de todas las lesiones, de las suspensiones y luego de los jugadores nuevos que han llegado? ¿Cómo se han sentido con ellos?
Bueno, primeramente con los jugadores nuevos, acogerles de la mejor manera, tratar de que se adapten lo más pronto posible, que conozcan las características de cada jugador, lo que el técnico le pide, lo que tiene que hacer dentro de la cancha y nada, muy contentos porque se está viendo su nivel que hoy en día están mostrando. Se vio el juego de hoy de Dominic, de Lockley, que al equipo se han acoplado muy bien y nada, muy contentos por ellos. En el tema de las lesiones son cosas que pasan en el fútbol. Uno no se sabe cuándo le llega una lesión porque uno da el máximo siempre y tiene que estar preparado mentalmente para ese momento y recuperarse de la mejor manera.
So injuries are just something that come along with the game of soccer that they have to prepare for, and they're pushing their bodies maximum every single day. So that's something that just comes. So they have to be ready when that does come. As for their new teammates, they're just helping them adjust, learn the characteristics of each player on the team, and kind of learn the game model of the team to kind of fit in.
Where's leadership coming from on this team? Who's leading? Where's the leadership come from?
Como el leadership, ¿de dónde está viniendo de ustedes en el equipo? ¿De qué jugadores?
¿El qué?
¿Quién es el líder del equipo? Básico, ¿de dónde viene el liderazgo?
El liderazgo. Yo creo que todos somos líderes en el equipo. Yo no creo que hay uno solo, porque si tú te pones a ver, todos somos los que mandamos acá en el equipo. La verdad que nos contagiamos de uno, o sea, la verdad, si uno corre para un lado, todos vamos. Si uno está mal, tenemos que apoyarle para que siempre esté bien. Entonces yo creo que somos, no sé, ¿cuántos en el equipo? 28, 30, y los 30 somos los líderes.
That the whole team is kind of leaders, that they all kind of rely on each other. If someone goes one way, they're all going to go that way. If someone's down, they're going to help them get back up. So they kind of just pick up energy and the leadership from each other.
That's all, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Buenas noches.
Felicidades. Gracias.
¿Dos? Ah, sí, eso estaba viendo. Que hay que ganar el sábado también. Sí.